Hi, my name is Brian. Some people call me BarefootBailey. So today, what we're going to do is a little bit different. Here we go. So today's run, I'm doing something a little different. So what I like to do, instead of a let's play for video games, I like to do a let's run together. I think that would be different. This will be for all of you, I should say all of us, that could use a running buddy or trail buddy. Maybe you don't like to listen to music when you're running or walking. Maybe the sound of somebody coaching you through it. I'm not a athletic champion or a long distance runner, not anymore. I'm just a late 40s guy that's had quite a few injuries over the years through my own fault and accidents, of course, but just trying to maintain, trying to stay ahead of the game a little bit. So maybe this is what some of you guys need, and girls, to get started. You don't have to run. You can walk. You don't have to be barefoot like me. You don't even have to have minimalistic shoes. Grab a pair of shoes and come out here with me. Put on your headphones. Stick the phone in your pocket. You don't have to watch me. You don't have to watch all this boring scenery. All I'm doing is running barefoot on the path. Nothing special. You can listen to me drone on and on about whatever thoughts come into my brain. Let's call it trail vlogging or free vlogging, something like that. This is a bit tough for me because I'm unable to keep my breathing cadence and talk to you at the same time. But I'm willing to give up some of my comfort for your benefit. So I'd really be honored and pleased and proud of you if you join me. And if you need somebody to talk to, I'm not physically there with you, obviously, but you can scream at my voice if I say something that you don't really like, or you could say good job or amen, brother, or whatever floats your boat. But don't stop. I'm not saying you have to run the entire time, but don't stop. This isn't that long. Two laps around this trail is about a mile, and then my trip there and back again. This time I ran here. Even though I'm in shorts, as you can see, I am way overdressed for this environment. It's November 12th, I think. It's overcast. You can see my breath. So in the low 40s, late 50s, I believe, late 30s. But I'm still overdressed. It's amazing how much body heat is produced just with a little jog. I'm not hauling butt. I'm just having a good old time. Sometimes I might have to pause talking for a minute, catch my breath. I'm sorry about the camera. It's a good camera, but I can't get it to fit on my gimbal. So I have to keep it close to my body, which prevents me from knowing where my angle of my shot's at. There. Doesn't take a lot of breathing to get yourself back. Years ago, I was practicing methods for slowing my own heart rate down. A lot of people didn't believe me. A lot of people told me it was impossible, that you can't do it. Now, mind you, this was like 20 years ago. But I proved it time and time again. It's not directly, I'm not willing my heart rate to drop, but I'm forcing my breathing. And the funny thing is, unless you're on caffeine or something, your heart follows your breathing. So as I slow my breathing, I'm telling my heart, slow down. We're not in a rush. This isn't a race. There's nobody ahead of me or behind me. There's no reason to stress out. In fact, that's the opposite of what running's supposed to be. Running is supposed to be a stress killer. Maybe I shouldn't use that word. Stress dissolver. Well, if you stay with me this long, then I applaud you. Especially if you're new, or if you're a bit older. Maybe you have joint issues or weight problems or something. That's fine. Nobody's saying you have to run. In fact, in those situations, I would say don't run. Just walk. Put your earbuds in, and I'm gonna walk. That was 2 laps plus the trip here. So about 1.5 miles, give or take. Who's counting anyways, right? It's a good feeling. You gotta control your breathing. You can't do anything unless you control your breathing first. And eventually, hopefully, you're eating. If you're a little bit overweight, you gotta control your breathing, you're eating, and then get up and do stuff. Put the phone down or stick it in your pocket. It doesn't matter, but come outside. Look at this. There's nobody here. Just you and me, and that's it. What else could you ask for? I mean, Chicago There's one block that way. That's Toyota Park right there on the other side of that hill. Now you figure out where I'm at. So what? I challenge you. Come out here. Join me out here. I'll run with you. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a teenager or if you're a college student or whatever the case may be. Come on out here. If you're a college level runner, I might not be able to keep up with you if you have your shoes on, but I challenge you to keep up with me with shoes off. See, I'm sweating. So if you want to see what I'm wearing, I've got a neck gaiter here on my head and a neck gaiter here. Both of those are Merino wool. The reason why I wear this on my head is usually I don't have my hat on at the same time. It allows my head to stay warm, but any steam or heat will still vent out the back flap. Because if I wear knit beanies or anything like that, it tends to get way hot and I sweat too much. So I need a way for my head to vent, and this is the best way I've found. But what's cool about merino wool and all types of wool, even if they're drenched with sweat or wetness or rain or whatever, they still maintain a level of their insulative properties, which I like. I'm gonna switch hands. So that's what I got on my head and my neck. They're easy to pop them off, stick them in a pocket, no big deal. So under that, I've got a merino wool thin base layer. It's a lightweight. And then I have another merino wool t-shirt on top of that. And then this is just for visibility purposes and a little bit of wind retention, that's all. And then here, I just got a pair of shorts, and I wear ankle bands for multiple reasons. It's actually quite funny. I used to never wear ankle bands, but as I talk about in my book, I used to run around Argonne National Laboratories. They have a 10-mile trail that's kind of like this one here. It's much, much wider, of course, and rougher, and there's hills, and there's all kinds of, there's water and streams and different things to climb on and everything. But anyways, I used to go there maybe twice a month and run around. Frequently had people stopping me thinking that I lost my shoes. And they were genuinely concerned, most of them. Some of them kind of grossed out by my bare feet, but most of them were very concerned about me. And one older lady, she's like, "Dearie, oh my goodness, did you lose your shoes? Let me go get you a pair." And I laughed, and my wife was with me, and she was laughing, and she didn't get the joke. And I had to demonstrate for her a few of my squats, my deep squats, do a few of those for her to prove that I was doing this on purpose. We all had a good laugh about it. But I started thinking that maybe people were getting offended, or maybe a lot more people were worried about me. So I started thinking to put stuff around my ankles so that there's some kind of visual indicator that, yeah, I'm doing this on purpose. This is my choice. So that's the story. My uncle braided me a few paracord bracelets, but they're bigger for my ankles, so I wear those sometimes. I have a bunch of different things that I've tried over the years. I do not like silicone. Any of those silicone bracelet bands, I don't like that feeling against my skin directly. I don't even wear my wedding ring with the silicone rings. I don't like them. So I just brain deaded there for a moment. Where was I? Oh yeah, so I wear those, and now later I realized that the plush ones help me when it's colder out. That little bit of warmth at my ankles seems to keep my feet just a little bit warmer. It's not the right word, because toes still get cold no matter what. But I don't know. Maybe it's a subconscious thing. I don't know. but it definitely makes me feel better anyways when I'm walking these cold trails. And right now the ground is pretty chilly and it's wet. We had a lot of rain, lots of rain the last day or two, and the ground's wet. We had puddles this morning when I went to work, and but it's really cool though, because when your bare feet touch the ground directly, and I'm not talking asphalt's a whole nother story, but when your feet touch the ground on natural surfaces, or mostly natural surfaces, your body thermal regulates for the most part, even in the cold like it is now. So my upper body's hot, my lower calves down are chilly, but it's kind of equalizing somewhere in the middle right here, which is a weird phenomenon. I can't quite explain it, but I like that feeling. A lot of people don't. It takes quite a bit of getting used to, and breathing techniques, conditioning, and sometimes just, I don't want to say manning up, but humaning up, adulting, that's the word. Adulting up and just doing it. Step out of your comfort zone. Put your feet outside. But don't go long distance in the beginning. If you choose to take your shoes off, just go to the mailbox and back. That's how I started. I never thought that I'd be running barefoot on rocks and gravel. There's no way you could have told me that 20 years ago, that I would be running barefoot. I had all the Wolverine, hiking boots and all that kind of stuff, and I had my old Navy boondockers, and I used to run in those on the trails. And all that running, it just, you get those hot spots on your toes after a while. And at first you're thinking, I'm just being a wuss. I gotta adult up and push through it, and just no pain, no gain. And after years of doing that, it started to make my toes crunch together and made one of my toes kind of crooked. And I didn't realize it at first. I thought I was doing good for myself, running the trails. I was running for hours on the trails and trying to keep up with mountain bikers and stuff like that. And just, I don't know how many times I've hurt myself over the years with regular shoes, that we've always used, with the raised heel gym shoes or hiking boots and things like that. And I always went a size, maybe half a size up. Normally I'm like a 9.5. I always wore a 10 or a 10.5 shoe, because I didn't like that squishy feeling. I didn't like my toes getting crunched together like that. Even as a kid, I never liked it. But it still happened. And in years of work, cramming my feet into work boots and stuff like that, just made one of my toes crooked like that. Not this bad, but a little bit. And it's to the point where it is uncomfortable sometimes. Even now, even after all these years, there's part of it that still hasn't corrected itself yet. But for the most part, it has. And I'm grateful for that. I'm very grateful for that. And I don't know where I was going with that, but thank you for your patience in dealing with me as I ramble on. Just trying to talk you through it, Sometimes that's all we need, is someone to talk to or to listen to or whatever. And maybe that's what's helping me now. You're listening to me, and I'm going further. So I just walked 2 extra laps around here just because I'm preoccupied with the camera and hoping to inspire you guys to do the same thing. You want to see me or you want to see the view? I vote the view. As I was saying earlier, if you do decide to listen to me while you're walking yourself or running or whatever, I'm going to say things from time to time that you might agree with. And I guarantee I'm going to say something eventually that you won't agree with. That's okay. Hopefully you don't hate me for it. Hopefully you just speak out loud, right to the camera, right to your phone. You jerk, that was pretty stupid, or something like that. Who cares? I'm not going to get offended by it. And you might say, well, that's stupid. Who in their right mind would talk to a camera? Well, here I am talking to you, and you're not actually here, you're just ones and zeros as I record this. When I'm talking to you, I'm out here all by myself talking to a camera. I don't care what people think. You know, there's houses over there. I'm sure there's somebody peeking out a window watching me. You know, and then I cut through these alleys and all these different, I go that way sometimes. And it gets very populated over there. So what? People look at me and they laugh and they point. Ha ha, look at that guy. He's walking barefoot on the ground. What a weirdo. Yeah, but I'm not in pain anymore. At least not as much. I won't rag on anybody that's out here. I don't care if they're in a wheelchair or if they're in crutches or if they're overweight or going 1 mile per hour on a speed bike or a mountain bike or whatever. Who cares? They're out here doing it, breathing the air. To me, that's the biggest part, is the breathing. Just then comes the peace. Then comes the calm. After spending 8 hours at work dealing with whatever, you know, I don't know what you're going through. Dealing with crabby people, crabby customers, crabby bosses, people that don't get out and walk or run themselves, and they let all that frustration pent up inside of them until they explode on you. I've been there. I know how it is. It sucks. That's why we run. That's why we walk. That's why we go into nature. That's why we kayak and camp, right? That's why we have dogs and pets and cats. Ferrets. I love ferrets. Because they relieve some of that stress. They relieve some of that pent up stuff. You can't hang on to it forever. You gotta let it go. There's a guy right there walking his dogs. Good on you, buddy. Good on you. Beautiful dogs. I love to see that. Get out there. He probably had a hard day too, I bet you. Who knows what his boss was telling him or his customers are complaining about. He doesn't care. He's out there with his dogs, his best friends, his buddies. Probably talks to them too. I would. I would talk to my dog if I had one. I used to. Breathe. I'll get more into detail for a lot of this stuff. You know, I use different foot sprays to prepare my feet and to help toughen them up. There's different techniques you can use to kind of cheat or hack your feet to become more leather-like, kind of like a dog's paw. You know, you touch the paw. You know, a lot of people think when they hear about barefoot walking and running that your feet get crusty and nasty. And like people that wear flip-flops all the time, the edges of their heels and the back get kind of crusty and nasty sometimes. But that's not the case with barefoot running, because if you look, it's naturally exfoliating like sandpaper. My feet stay nice and smooth, but they just get compacted and tough like leather. So if you ever feel a nice piece of leather and it feels nice and smooth and soft, but it's hard, that's what the bottoms of your feet eventually become like that. They don't look nasty. You know, after I wash them after the shower, they look like normal feet. But anyway, so I use different kind of sprays and sometimes different balms depending on how long I push this. I've been away from this for about 3 years. I had a really horrible accident with my heel. I explained in some of my other videos. I'm not going to go over that again. But anyways, it stopped me from running. I did some barefoot stuff just to keep my feet sort of conditioned. You know, spend time out in the shop. I got a small, tiny little wood shop where I tinker around. And I'll go out there and do stuff barefoot or do a little bit of yard work. Even though I hate doing barefoot, and grass. It scares the crap out of me. I don't like it. But I didn't run or anything. I didn't even walk that much. A little bit here and there. Sorry, there's a train. Don't know where it's going. Don't know where it came from. Doesn't matter. What was I saying? Yeah, I use different sprays. One is it was meant for dogs, I guess. You can spray it on dogs' feet to help them with their paws when they start getting cracked and stuff like that. It's got different things in there to help dry out the skin a little bit. But eventually I created my own, started mixing my own version, and eventually I'll share that with you. I'll give you the whole recipe. I'm not greedy. Check out this view. So now, rest a minute in the down position. Let my back and my hips and my knees and my calves and everything and my toes kind of relax a minute. Do some more breathing. Do a few squats. I don't do a lot now, just enough to maintain. I shift from side to side. Loosen up the hips, up and down. It's a little difficult holding a camera. Once I feel pretty good, let's start going again. Leaves are another thing that kind of make me nervous because you can't see what's under them. And in this area, there's frequently glass, bottle tops, bottle caps, a lot of man-made junk to step on. Right now it's pretty clean, but that makes me nervous. It's nice to walk on it, but if there's some hidden nugget underneath it, that could be quite painful, even after you've been doing this a while. When you step on a hidden rock and you're not ready for it, man, it hurts. Yeah, just take my time, don't rush. Like I said, I'm not racing anybody. I don't know how long that took. I don't know if anybody's still watching. If you are, God bless you. If you're not a religious person, then good on you. I don't mean to say religious, I mean to say spiritual. Spiritual is a different word. Religious kind of denotes traditions and ceremonies and stuff like that. I don't see myself more like that. I see myself more spiritual. Just me and God, one-on-one. I talk to him, he talks to me. Not in voices, I'm not hearing voices. But through events, things that happen, the way people interact. They tell me different things. I won't go into that too much right now. I'll go into that later. Nice out. I like it chilly. A lot of people don't. A lot of people want summer and hot. But you know what? I can keep adding clothes on. I've gone as low as I could do 20 degrees for about 30 minutes. I could do 0 for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I'm definitely no Wim Hof, that's for sure. Although I do practice his breathing techniques on occasion, it does help to acclimate towards colder climates and even hotter climates. get into that another day too. It's way too detailed to get into right here. But the short version is various types of breathing techniques can help you in various types of ways. Some of them can help alleviate pain. Some of them can help you focus. Some of them can help you generate heat, intense internal heat that radiates to your extremities. And a whole myriad of other different things that it does. For me, I used it for a lot of cold conditioning. Also can help you to hold your breath longer if you're going underwater or swimming. Or in my case, I worked in a very dusty, dirty environment for a long time, and so that helped me to hold my breath in an inhale and an exhale, which is equally important. A lot of people concentrate on the inhale, like, but how many people hold their breath at an exhale? Not many people do. That's important because, well, in my job that I used to be in, sometimes you're caught with a whiff of chemical or some kind of powder or something in the air, and it hits you so fast. If you're in the middle of an exhale, you're it. You don't have a chance to breathe in, so you'd have to hold the exhale, which is a lot more difficult than an inhale. And sometimes you'd hold it out so long you start getting loopy and head buzzy and stuff like that. And it was breathing conditioning that helped me to develop that better and better. Now, since I've been away from a lot of this stuff for several years, my breathing I got lazy with my breathing. I got lazy with my walking. You know, I was in a lot of pain, not just in my foot. I was in pain all over the place because when I hurt my heel, I started compensating my walk just in my normal walk, going to work and stuff. And I'd be limping, and then my hip would hurt, and then my knee would start hurting, and then I'd stretch, and it was just years of back and forth, going to the chiropractor, getting things snapped back into place. And it was very frustrating. And I gave up on any type of diet whatsoever. I was just eating whatever it felt like. And I put on like 20 pounds more than I normally weigh. At 5'9", I'm happy at 195 personally, but I'm a little bit stocky for my height. But I was up to 220. 220, man. Think about it. What really tripped me out was when I realized Mike Tyson's fighting weight. If I was a boxer, I'd be in the ring with him. That's a no-no, man. I said, no way, Jose. I got to do something about that. So, it was a few months ago. You know, my wife and I both decided we were gonna get back into it, and here I am. And I have some friends and co-workers that they know my story, and they know me when I used to run barefoot a lot. They know my downfall, and they know all that stuff, and they've encouraged me to start documenting this stuff. And, you know, I stepped away from social media completely at that time. I got away from Facebook. I got away from Instagram. All that stuff. I deleted all my photographs on all of those. And I closed it all down. I stopped, I was into a lot of different hobbies, photography, camping, kayaking. It all stopped. Like, my body was hurt so bad at one point that I couldn't do any of that stuff anymore. No amount of stretching or anything would help. And I'm not gonna quit. I'm not done. I'm here, and hopefully you're here with me. But I had enough, you know. I had enough, and now I'm back down to 198. Not quite 195, but I'll get into that later, what I did for that. But 198, I'm feeling solid. My work is a lot of heavy lifting, so I'm not worried about weights or anything like that. Now it's endurance, conditioning, and breathing. And my breathing is not that good right now. I should not be out of breath from that little bit. Before, I was running for hours, not ultra marathon type stuff. You know, maybe I think the longest run I ever did without stopping was like 5 hours, something like that. But at a slow pace, very slow jog, just a little bit faster than a walk, than a fast walk. And now I could barely run. I mean, that was a mile. I think I ran a 3/4 a mile there, twice around. So just shy of running 2 miles. But then I walked 2 around and then 3/4 back. So if you stayed with me for all of that, that means you did the same amount of distance that I did, or at least the same amount of time. I stopped worrying so much about distance. I'm more concerned with the time. I want to be able to move for an hour. You know, I want to be able to comfortably move on a trail for multiple hours without being winded. You know, places like Starved Rock or Argonne or tons of different places around here where we go hiking. And some of those trails can be 20 miles or more. And I definitely don't want to be winded doing those things. I want to be able to stay with it, you know, until I'm an old man. I'll stop talking for a minute. I got people with a dog coming. I don't want to freak them out. Hello. You like my shoes? That was fun. I'm almost home now. Now the neighbors are all watching me. I love it. Who's that weirdo with the camera and no shoes? So I finish up my walk, my run, put some more spray on my feet. The spray I use is also good for any abrasions or little cuts or anything like that, which I don't seem to have any now. I just do it because this has been my 6th or 7th, maybe 8th run barefoot. And I want to make sure my leather bottoms, my soles, are conditioned thoroughly. Winter's coming up, and I want to make sure that they're very tough. I'm going to push this. I'm going to push the cold as far as I can. You know, winters here in Chicago can get down to negative 25 Fahrenheit. I don't think I'll do that, but we'll see. And if it gets that cold, maybe I'll just put some Vibrams 5-finger shoes on. Oh, jeez. Well, that's it. I'm home. Thanks for coming with me. Hopefully, we'll see you next time.